All right, so doing a video series. Let's check this out. Push the button. We're gonna do a video series on this garage I've got built out here. Yeah. What do you think about that? Nice, right? I know you're thinking, man, this hot rod white truck is awesome. But anyway, I'm gonna do a series about what it takes to build a garage. It's gonna be a multi-part series, and it's not even done yet. Like, I'm gonna do this video series. I'm not even done. I don't even have my concrete poured out here. I don't have my electricity all set up in here yet. I've got extension cords run for this to work. But it should be informative. You should learn a lot about how to get a permit, concrete, building, the ups and downs, some of the trials and tribulations I've run through. And by the time I finish the series, this thing should be ready to go. So enjoy. All right, so I want to go through some of the Wake County permit process. Successful today. I got my second inspection done. So let me show you what the Wake County permit portal looks like. It looks like this when you log into it. It's called the permit portal, Wake County. And once you set up an account, you simply log in. You have a dashboard here that you can go to, and I'll click on mine for you. Tells you all about your permits, your plans, your inspections, the whole thing. And it says any attention, anything active. So we'll click on the one that says active just so you can see what I got here. And this will tell you your permit number, your address, the type of permit it is, which is a residential accessory building, because I'm doing a detached garage. And when you click on the actual permit number here, it takes it a minute to come up. This actually shows you my completion rate. Now this will keep going up as I get each inspection done. So let me show you how this works. Over on the right hand side, you have available actions. So each time you have a process that you're doing, you request an inspection, they come out, they do it. Over in this column, you can see the progress. So you'll notice I have two inspections left to do. One's called the framing when the building's up, and one's called the final. So once everything's done, the building's installed, the power's installed, ready to go, that's the final inspection. So over on this box here, you can see that originally I applied for this way back at the end of the summer. So it was around July, August I started this process. So it's now January. It took over 6 months to get to where we are now. But we verified where we are September 10th, 2020. We did a building site plan review where you basically look at your property and you do a survey and all this cool stuff. September 15th. We did an application check. You have to fill out an application where you go through the process and you basically say, this is the type of structure I'm trying to do, whether you're building a deck or a garage or whatever it is. And they have selections in here that you choose from. I chose detached garage. And you fill out, you know, what county you're in, some things about your property. You go from there. From there, you do the accessory building plan review. This is where mine failed originally. And the reason mine failed is because the previous owners of my home had built a deck onto the screened-in porch. And apparently they didn't get a permit. So, of course, when I bought the house, the deck was attached, and the drawings on Wake County's website showed a deck already on the house. So long story short, they didn't do the right paperwork. I can't argue with them. They said it wasn't permitted, so I had to stop this application. I had to apply for a new permit for a deck that I didn't build. Pay the fee, which was about $200 for a permit for the deck, and I had to get it inspected, and I had to schedule it just like you see here. So I had to schedule a guy to come out from Wake County. He came out, he looked at it, and he said, well, I don't really like the way it is. And I'm going, look, man, I just want to build a garage. I don't care about a deck. And if you know me, you know I'm pretty blunt to the point when it comes to stuff like this. I said, look, the deck is not going to prevent me from building a garage. So if it don't meet what you want, I'll take my truck and a chain and hook to it and snatch it off the house. Because I don't care about a deck. I'll put some cinder blocks up to get into the house. I don't care about that. So he laughed and he said, if you're not going to add any more weight to the structure, it's okay like it is and I can approve it. But if you're going to put any kind of covered porch on it or extend anything on there, I don't like the way it's attached and you'll have to change that. I said, you know what, if I do that in the future, we'll worry about that then. But for now, I'm not changing anything. It holds my grill and that's it. So he approved it, permit underway, done. So then I could go back to my garage permit. All right, so I'm just telling you, these are things that you don't know. Nobody tells you this. So once I got that underway, the next thing was I had to get my engineering drawings. So it doesn't matter what kind of building, if you're doing a metal building, a wood building, or what have you, you have to have engineering drawings and you have to submit them to Wake County so they can actually figure out what your setbacks are. So for example, if you're building in Wake County in my specific area and the height of your building is under 15 foot, then your setbacks from the side and the back of your property are a certain distance. If it's over 15 foot, then your setbacks are increased slightly. For example, if it's under 15 foot for the height, you can be 5 feet off of your property line from the sides and the back. That was what I could have done. Mine is going to be right at 15, maybe a touch over. So I decided to do the next one, which is 10 foot from the sides and the back. So they approved mine at 10 foot from the sides and the back, which is stamped on my drawing as the minimum I could be from the property line. Because I didn't want to push it that close to the property line for a couple of reasons, but let's just say I just didn't want to do it that way. I moved mine further into the yard and further close to the house. So I actually have about 17 foot from the side of the property and I have about 30 foot from the back of the property. So it actually puts the structure closer to my house and more centered toward the middle of the yard, not pushed up against the property line toward the other neighbors. Call it consideration, call it what you want. I just try to do that to give me a little bit of a barrier. You know, I don't want to push up a building right up on somebody's property line. That's just not, you know, being a good neighbor. So anyway, got the drawing figured out. So just keep that in mind when you're building your structure. Wake County is pretty cool about the size of the building. My building is a 40 by 40, which is 1,600 square feet. My house, for example, is a little over 2,500, almost 2,600 heated square feet, but total, it's actually like the 2,900 plus square feet. If I ever finish up the attic, close it in, I'd have almost 3,000 heated square footage. Because it's not filled in yet, I have to go by the 2,590 heated square foot. They told me as long as I'm under that, I can build what I want. Here's a stipulation. The structure can't be taller than your house. Mine is right at 3 stories. Like, I mean, so that's not gonna be a problem. Can't be wider than your house. That's not gonna be a problem either. So if my house is 2,500 heated square foot and my garage is gonna be 1,600, I'm well under what they told me I could build. So cool, okay, great. So 1,600 square foot it is. Obviously when you're planning your build, concrete's gonna be expensive. Just having the land to do it and move things around, trees may be in the way, bringing in field dirt, crush and run, all this you got to consider for your cost when you start building your garage of your dreams or whatever you want to do. So anyway, that's where we're next. So to get the engineering drawings though, I hadn't purchased the building yet. So I'd actually call the company that I was going to get the building from, and I researched the company called Vega Metal Structures out of Randleman, North Carolina. I drove out there to meet these people. They're really nice folks, have a lot of options for you to choose from. And the options I selected worked out with the gauge of the metal of the building. I told them I had to meet Wake County code, which, be prepared, they charge an extra fee if it's got to pass inspection certification, especially for Wake County. So that was an extra fee I didn't count on. But their drawings will dictate that it's gonna pass code. They've done plenty of these buildings in Wake County, and so far everything they've done has worked out fine. All my inspections have gone phenomenal so far. So back to the next steps. Once I got the drawings in place, we moved to here. They passed my drawings on November 12th. And then this was a mistake I made, December 9th. Part of being your own contractor, which I am, I'm the one who's responsible as the homeowner. I can be my own contractor. They allow you a little bit of leadway because they know you're not an expert, you'll make mistakes. I hired all the people who are doing the work. So the concrete guy I hired, the building people I hired, the electricians are who I'm hiring. I I picked a local electrician. So I just got their name and number, their address, I put them down as my electrician, put them on my form, submitted it in, bada bing, ready to go. Unfortunately, because nobody told me, I should have contacted them first and told them about my job and possibly had them come out and do a quote or whatever, but just basically gave them a heads up. Nobody told me this. So Wake County contacted them immediately. They said they had no idea who I was or my project. They said, we're not gonna be on there. So then Wake County came back and they failed my plan review because they said my electrician wasn't gonna be part of the job. So I had to call the electrician, tell them the whole thing I'm telling you, I'm gonna use them, they're gonna be on my job, and they said, no problem, we'll be happy to quote it for you. They're literally right down the street from my house, so I mean, why wouldn't they do the work? So once we figured out those details, they called Wake County, got put back on the permit, and then, literally 2 days later, my plan was approved, and then I got charged a fee, which is here, and I want to say that was $500 for this permit. Now, if you go back and think about it, I had a permit for the deck, I had a permit here, and the next thing you do, once you pay the fee, they verify their jurisdiction, they do this whole link the sub permit, and then it's up to me to do the next step, which is getting the site prepped and ready. So that's when I called my concrete guy, and he could do the site prep for me. He'd get my yard leveled out and ready to go. He could get the footings done per the drawing. Unfortunately, for my drawing, I had to have wire mesh. Now, most people that use the wire mesh don't need it as thick as what mine required. Mine required this, maybe it's for Wake County standard, but it's a 6 gauge. It's really thick, which means it's double the price. So just my wire mesh and all the rebar and everything I had to have was right at 800 bucks. That's for the plastic and everything and little caps that hold the rebar up. So $800. The crush and run I had to have. We had to bring in crush and run to put down where the pad's gonna go. That was $1,250 to bring in what I needed for that. And then the concrete itself, we needed 36 yards of concrete. And my concrete guy got me a really good price on concrete. It was like $110 a yard, but it was 36 yards. So by the time all said and done with the fees and the fuel surcharges and all this and tax, I got $5,000 in concrete. Part of that, because it is January and it's very cold, it's been in the 20s at night and in the 30s, they do something they had to add, let's see here, they had to add calcium. So there was another charge on here. It was like another $200 they charged me that day for calcium. And they added, looks like 2% calcium to the concrete mix. And what it does is actually helps it harden and be stronger or something. I'm not into this stuff, so somebody probably knows more about it than I do, but the calcium is what they use in wintertime for concrete to harden up and do its job. But that was another 200 bucks. So then I've got $5,300 in concrete. The contractor himself, he ended up charging me $6,500 for labor to do the site prep and work, partly because I had taken down some trees and ground the stumps when I moved in, but unfortunately started digging, there was a big root still underground right in the middle where I was gonna put the garage. So they had a heck of a time trying to get that root up and cut it and jam it and finally got it out of the ground, but that was more labor that they didn't count on in the beginning. So all in all, I'm in for about $13,500 in site prep, concrete, wire mesh, calcium, crush and run, the whole thing. So that was a lot more than I anticipated, but it is what it is. So now I have a pad out there that just passed inspection. It's gone through 2 inspections. One was the inspection of the grid prior to pouring concrete, and the next one's actually pouring the concrete on it. So now we're ready for the building. So the next step, I'm gonna call the company Vega. I've already got a deposit down so I can get my drawings, and they told me roughly 2 weeks or so. I've already picked out the colors to match my house. I've already picked out my garage doors I'm gonna have for it, and next steps are I'm gonna order it. They're gonna put me on the schedule, come out. They will install the building, and then within a few days, they'll send the garage door people out who'll put in my 3 electric garage doors that face the road and my 1 roll-up door that'll go on the side where I'm gonna have my lift as you drive in. So that's kind of a quick update, how it goes through the process, how it does for Wake County. And again, as you go through, you'll see that on 1/14, I had the footing done, and then on 1/19 today, I had the foundation passed. So next will be the framing. Once the building's installed, I'll get the framing inspection done. And then the building final, that's after the power's in and everything. I'll have them come out and I'll do the final inspection. They'll close it and that'll be that. And this will go to 100%. Let's see here if I can give you an idea on the fees. Yeah, so here's your fees. So 60, 60, 320, 60. These are just the individual fees I had to pay up front so far. So that's 180 and 320. So yeah, there's your $500 fees that I had to pay just for this permit for the garage. So a few things here on attachments. So you do have to upload things to the portal for attachments. So some of the things you have to upload are something called impervious surface calculations. And what that is you have to designate how much area on your property water cannot penetrate. I know it's crazy. I didn't know much about it myself till I started looking at this stuff. But there's a calculation and it's based on how much sidewalk area you have. It's based on your driveway and things like that. And you have to be under a certain amount. So we're gonna open this up here. And this is what the form looks like. It talks about your driveway, your parking pad, your walkway, your home itself. Then you take this information and you upload it to your portal. This is called impervious surface calculations. If you don't know how to get this information, you can hire somebody to come out to your house and help you go through this. I was able to actually pull most of this from doing with my survey guy. The people that did my survey for my house were able to help me calculate this and put this down. So if you've already had your property surveyed, you may already have access to this information. I was lucky enough to have that, and I had my property resurveyed recently. So that's one of the things you will have to do to upload to your portal. Next on here, you have your permit card. You have to submit your building contractor information, your approved site plan. And what this is, when you submit your site plan, your site drawings, if you will, basically it's gonna take your survey, and Wake County's then gonna stamp it. And see, they got their stamp here on it. It shows my setbacks here. It says 50 foot from the front, 10 from the side, 10 from the back. So if you can see that, this is how they designate where I'm putting my garage. This is the roadway out here. This is, you drive down my driveway, and this is where I decided to put it. So I'm a little over 16 foot from the side and a little over 30, 31 foot from the back. This is where I decided to put the garage. Again, a few reasons. One, I could have pushed it further back. Like I say, right here, I could have put 10 foot from the side, 10 from the back. I just didn't want to do it way back here. I want to have a little closer to the house. Plus, I've got to put a driveway to this thing. So I've got to have the driveway extended over to here like this, and I've got to have a way to drive around to put my lift in, because I'm going to have the door on this side where I drive in. So all those things are to keep in mind when you get ready to do this. Anyway, hope this is helpful. Trying to do some things that weren't available for me to help other people out there going through this same process. If you're trying to be your own contractor, it's definitely the way to go. There's a little bit of legwork you have to do on your own, but so far the experience has been pretty good. Just have a bunch of questions you have to ask up front. If you find somebody friendly at Wake County, just send them emails. Most of the time they will respond to you. Just give them a couple days. Just be very professional with them, very strict to the point. Try not to deviate much, and if you make a mistake, just own it, because there's plenty of mistakes I've made, and I was just like, look, I'm an idiot. Please help me. And when you do that, most of the time these people will definitely help you and just say, look, just try this, or look here, or they'll give you at least an idea of what to do. One thing I didn't count on was I had to pay a soil expert. And what that means is my septic system is in the front yard. Well, my garage is in the back. Well, as you can clearly see, my septic's here in the front. My garage is here. Well, when the builder did my drawing, they just randomly put, if this ever breaks, we're gonna put the septic back here. Well, the problem is, it's not broken, there's nothing wrong, but the builder said he's gonna put it right where my garage is. Well, Wake County said, well, you can't build there, that's your repair area. And I said, but it's nothing to repair. They said, well, what you have to do is get a soil expert out there to figure out where to move it on your property. If we could move it, where would you move it to? So after talking to a few people, I found a local expert here in Raleigh that took care of that for me. It cost me right at $800. And they came out and they marked my yard. They put flags in the yard. They redrew it where they could move it. And they moved it to the other side of my front yard. So instead of here, they actually moved it down here in the corner. So all my septic now is gonna move down here if I ever have a problem, and keep it away from the backyard. And the guy was real cool about it. He said, we're gonna leave your backyard open. If you ever wanna put a pool in one day or anything, we're gonna leave all that open back here so you can still do that. I said, man, that's great. I said, after all the money I spent in this garage, I'll probably never have a pool, but I appreciate you looking out for me. So those are extra additional costs that you probably don't think about that's gonna bite you later on. But again, you gotta ask the questions up front because nobody's gonna tell you this. It's a good idea to get a survey done, mark your property lines, get all your corners figured out, because you'll need to make sure your setbacks are accurate as possible. When you get ready to measure this, because I measured mine multiple times from the property line over to make sure my distances were correct. Plus you want your building to be straight. Last thing you want to do is measure, put your stakes in the ground, and have your building kind of crooked. So enjoy. I hope this was helpful. I'll have more as we go along as the building starts getting erected. Thanks.